As usual, ladies first.
Thanks, Tony. Hi, everyone. I think some of you have seen me by now. I'm Belinda Spry, Executive Officer for Wikimedia Australia. So I think we'll just head down the line and each person will introduce themselves and where they're from.
Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Johnny Alegre. I belong to a thematic organization, and I've been with the council. This is my second time. I've been with the interim hub committee. They're now the regulatory concern. I hope you make a representation to you this one.
Hello, I'm Greg Wang, and I'm the Secretary General of Wikimedia Taiwan, and I work for Wikimedia Taiwan almost 10 years.
Good morning. My name is Atikun Swanathan. I'm from Thailand. I'm also representing Wiki Journal of Medicine. Nice to see you all.
Hello, everyone. I'm Gary again. I'm representing the Wikimedia Malaysia user group.
Hello, hello everyone. I'm Ruben from the Philippines. I am an admin on Beagle Wikipedia, and I'm also the treasurer of, secretary now of Commons Authorities user group. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Robert from Singapore. We don't have an official affiliate in Singapore yet. I'm also an admin on English Wikipedia.
We also have one member who can't be here, Benj from the Philippines. She's currently at a different conference, I think, or traveling. And of course, okay, there's two people missing, but yeah, this is us. These are the people when we talk about the ECAP Prep Council. These are the people who have been working very hard for the past, I'm not sure, quite 12 months, feels like a long time, to prepare sort of like the strategic direction and look at what we can do to really promote ECAP and to look at ways forward and be really intentional about what we can do to really support all the groups, those that are already established, but also those that are looking to grow or looking to get established, how we can help. I think we were just going to quickly go over, we can probably will move now, so we can put some slides. We were just going to show, let me just jump to the slide, sorry. We just wanted to look quickly again and just give a bit more information. We introduced this yesterday. Well, I talked about the ECAP Charter and how it will be impacted by the movement of the Charter. And I presented these two options. It's been great. Some people have come and had a chat to us. We've had some feedback already, which is really good. We'd love you to come and talk to us if you have more questions, if you have comments, ideas. We will be having another session tomorrow afternoon, after lunch, and that's when we will be doing a vote on this. We will have a show of hands in the room to give us an indication of which option is the preferred option from the community. So please keep talking to us, keep talking with your members, with other people that you know, and discuss which way you think is the best way to go. So option one, just to review that one, is that we seek feedback here on the current draft of the ECAP Charter. We wait for the movement charter to be reviewed and revised in July. That will then be ratified, we believe, in August. And then we will be able to take those changes, align our ECAP Charter with the movement charter. We'll be able to proceed to elections, and basically that process can play out and hopefully be concluded towards like the later part of this year. Option two is that we have a vote tomorrow afternoon on the proposed ECAP Charter as it currently stands. We would then immediately move to elections, and the people who are elected would need to revise the ECAP Charter as soon as possible. So please have a think about what would work for you, what would work for your affiliate, your user group, your thematic group, whichever groups you belong to. And tomorrow afternoon we will have the vote and see which option is the preferred option from the community to move forward. What else were we talking about now? Sorry? Today's the period change. Yeah, I can go through the risks. Do you mind just going to the next slide? I'll just go back over the risks again.
Next slide. No.
Oops. Oh, this is the timeline again. So for option one, we just park our ECAP charter for the moment. We wait for the movement charter to be ratified in July, and then we align our ECAP charter with the movement charter, and we proceed to elections in August. And then option two timeline is that we ratify or take a vote on our ECAP charter, the draft ECAP charter as it stands now, and then immediately start an election process to elect a new council and Congress. Those people would then have to review and revise when the movement charter is released to align the ECAP charter, and then, as it says, in August, re-review the ECAP charter. Sorry, it's a little bit, there's too many charters. But we need to make sure that ours aligns with the international movement charter. And next slide, thank you. So these are, from our point of view, the risks. Option one, the movement charter may be pushed out, the timeline may extend slightly. That wouldn't have a huge impact on us, it would just push things out a little way. Option two is to proceed now. So our current charter, we've had some feedback and it does need some work. So we could ratify that now, but it does need quite a bit of amendment. We'd have to rush some elections now to immediately elect a new ECAP preparatory council or the Congress. There would be some duplication of work. There would be some interim sort of conflicting governments in the interim. Probably a slightly difficult handover while we were trying to check what's happening with our charter, with the ECAP, with the movement charter, a lack of continuity. And one of the other things that we're also trying to do is to put in a grant application. So that might not be completed. And again, next slide, thank you. So the benefits for option one are that we've been working on this for quite some time. So we have that consistency in that we have been to Berlin, some of us have been to Berlin, have the understanding of where the movement charter is at. We can provide consistency in aligning the two charters. We also have a bit more time to create the election process and make sure that's simple and clear for everybody. And we can also do a good handover to those people when they're elected. And the benefits of option two are that if we did immediately elect a new ECAP council, then they could just immediately start their work. So we think that's a summary. Maybe just one more slide. Our preferred option, we think the best option is to go with option one, just to extend our mandate, possibly through until later this year. That's something that we can take some feedback on. And then hopefully we'll be able to provide that final charter and elected officials for the ECAP hub. As we said yesterday, we are quite frustrated that we didn't bring to this conference a complete charter ready to be ratified and voting on. But yeah, there's been a few things in the process that we weren't aware of, and now we're just trying to align ourselves with the greater movement charter. Is there any comments? What questions do you have? Anything at all? Any feedback that we can take on board now? All good. Oh, one of the things I forgot to mention is while we've been working on the ECAT charter, we have also been working on a second piece of work, which we'll look at more closely shortly. And that is looking at applying for a grant to the foundation to support, have some staff possibly to support the work that we're all doing. So we'll have a look at that shortly, but that work, applying for a grant with the foundation, we don't need to have a charter in place for that grant to go ahead. The CEE hub, the Central Eastern European hub, doesn't have a charter, and they have staff, and they it's a hub that's been established for some time now. They did a pilot, and they've had staff who support them. So we think I've checked with people within the foundation, and we can definitely go ahead with a grant. We don't need to have that charter in place to be able to have staff. So last chance for so get a microphone to you.
Hello, this is Suyash. My question is like, have you contacted all the Wikipedia in the region? Because I cannot see any sort of comment or maybe any information on Fiji Hindi Wikipedia. Like, you guys are preparing this ECF hub, and I have not seen anyone who is participating from, especially from the Fiji Hindi Wikipedia.
Sorry, I thought Julie was going to we have communicated, I think, with through the regional meetings that have been sort of fairly regularly, usually on a monthly basis, and we also have meta pages that we keep updated. There is an ECAT mailing list as well, so I think we've sort of tried to use those channels. I think there's also a Telegram group that many people are on, so we probably rely on those channels. I think some of us have also reached out to newer groups and user groups that are here. So now I've spoken with Aotearoa in New Zealand and informed them on what we're doing. And some groups have just said, look, we want to be informed, but we haven't actually got time to participate at the moment. We're just focusing on our local group and trying to just get ourselves established or work on a current project. So we have been trying to keep people as informed as possible. But yeah, we can take that on board and make sure that we really update the meta pages and make announcements that we're here.
Then my suggestion would be. Then my suggestion would be like, especially for the Fiji Hindi community, it would be great if you can post any messages to their village pubs, because mostly like everyone is not comfortable on Telegram, and they are maybe not aware about such groups on Telegram. So it's always great practice if you can post messages to the village pubs.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's probably something we haven't thought of. So, Jody.
Oh yeah, at the end of the day, there are so many means of spreading the news, WhatsApp group, Telegram group, meta pages, Facebook. Again, I mean, if we can list all those things down completely, then yeah, we can bombard individually. But then, I mean, to go to every single individual community, probably it's a bit a lot of work. Maybe we might miss out one or two. So this is the time where we need your feedback in case there are some of you are still being left out. So we will be sure to include you into our movement.
Any other comments, ideas, suggestions?
Just for the timing observation, you mentioned July as a date for the movement charter ratification. It will take a bit more time because there will be at the end of June community and affiliates vote, and at some time later, if they are approved, Wikimedia Foundation board vote, so it will be not before Wikimania, let's say, either between Wikimania and September probably.
Okay, thank you. That's good to have an update. So that helps us with our timeline. So that's great. Thank you.
Yes, we've taken that into our considerations, so most probably we will extend our mandate until, because of the Wikimedia, you might need some other couple of months to do the discussion, to get the decisions, so most probably we will extend our mandate, until the end of this year, before we get, the permanent committee member to be up and running by early next year. I think it should be fairly enough. Like not too short, not too long, it's just nice to gather all those.
Make a few comments. First, I'm strongly in favour of option one. I think it would be a big mistake to set up a hub on the basis that we're going to have to modify it substantially before it really gets going. So it's better to wait until the main by agreement is finalised. That takes me to the second point. I understand the suggestion that we extend the preparatory council's mandate until the end of this year, but even that might not be long enough. We don't know how long it's going to take to finalise the international agreement. So it might be a good idea to say at least until the end of this year, but in any event until that it's finalised, so that we don't have to have another agreement to extend it another time. Finally, I note your comment about the feasibility of appointing someone as a staff member, or maybe more than one staff member, to get the hub going without a formal charter. I'm strongly in favour of that as well. I think it's important that we get the hub going sooner rather than later. And if there's a precedent for it and it's good what it is, then we can follow that precedent and get some staff. I don't know what arrangements were made for hiring people with the CE group, but no doubt the foundation knows and is happy with the arrangement. And so I would recommend that the preparatory council also be given a mandate to get on with that in collaboration with whoever we need to collaborate with. And I don't think it needs to be limited to just one staff member, just a CEO. I think if we ask for 2 or 3 or maybe even more staff to get going, that would be good. In Wikimedia Australia, of which I'm a board member, we have 3 staff. So we have Belinda and 2 others. And that I think is a good starting point. If we can have 3 staff on the hub and maybe base them in 3 different countries, I don't know, but find 3 people who have the right skills, then that would be very beneficial to Resiac as a whole. And so I strongly support that as well.
Thank you. Any other final comments, thoughts? No? You're welcome to come and chat to us. We will, as we said, sorry. Excellent. The next presentation, so do you want to go now? Okay. Yeah, 9 o'clock, yeah, 9 o'clock. Yeah. All right, so we're just getting our timing on. Okay, so as we said, we will do the vote tomorrow afternoon after lunch. There will be another ECAP session, ECAP Prep Council session. So we will have a look at those 2 options. We will do a show of hands in the room for people to support their preferred option. We're here to talk to you for the next, well, the rest of today and tomorrow. But for now, we might then move on to a completely different sort of topic, where we will look at the theory of change document. So I can go to, yes, thank you. And I'll just go through a few slides. This is for the grant application. So this is covering the work that we've done to look at the grant application. We have to prepare a theory of change, and we really wanted to get some feedback from everyone in the room today. This is what I'm looking at with the workshop. Sorry, we just get ourselves in. No, it's okay. Okay, it's all good. All right, sorry, we're all good. All right, next slide, thank you. So I'll just do a very quick recap for those who are new. The ECAP Hub, where did it start? It actually started back in 2014. There was a group of people who met in Wikimania, London, and decided it would be great if people in our region could sort of get together on a more formal basis, more regularly, and just started to communicate on a more regular basis, support each other, and started a network. There was I think a strategy meeting in 2006 for Southeast Asia people who were involved. And the goals back then are actually remarkably similar to the goals that we have now. So back then, the goals were to network among communities in East and Southeast Asia or neighbouring regions. It was to discuss shared successes and challenges around education programs and to reflect together on local strategy. So I think that captures quite clearly that sort of need in our region. Next one, thank you. So where are we now? So if we fast forward and look at today, the ECAP Hub is going to be a really strong network in our region. It's been in place now for almost 10 years. Again, we're communicating, we're connecting, we're coming together at conferences to learn from each other, to share what we're doing together, the projects, the experiences. For example, we have regular online community meetings. There's been a series of conferences. There was a strategy summit in Bangkok in 2019, and of course, being hosted with Wikimania last year for 2023. But we know that we can do a lot more for our region and to support the movement in general. So one of the things we've been talking about apart from the charter is how can we get funding from the foundation to support our region and to make sure that it really flourishes and grows. Next slide, thank you. So a grant would employ a staff member to support the hub and to focus on issues for the region. So, and there are quite a few issues that we've identified. We did workshops in the ECAP conference in Sydney and again at Wikimania last year. So we've gathered a lot of information over the past 2 years. And most of those sort of key areas for people have been around translations, just the coordination of community meetings, support for smaller groups who might be starting out or have run into issues and need some extra support, just even around reporting and of course just advocacy for ECAP in general. And again, the foundation have advised that we can apply for a grant regardless of the status of our ECAP charter. We can look at getting the staff member who might even support in getting that written and complete for us. So part of applying for a grant as a hub with the foundation requires something called a theory of change document. Can I just get a show of hands? How many people have heard of a theory of change or a program logic? Well, just a few, a couple, a few. Excellent, okay. So this would be a good learning opportunity for people. So a theory of change can also sometimes be known as a program logic. And it's a way of laying out or explaining what it is that you want to achieve with your funding or with the resources, why you need that change to happen, why you want it to happen, and then also what might be the context around that. So explain why you need it, where you need it to happen, and how long it will happen for. So it really explains why a program is effective, why what you put in place will work. So it outlines the strategy, but also some common points between if we do this, then something else will happen. If we don't do this, this is the outcome we will get. So we need to articulate goals, the design intervention, and evaluate how we can achieve that and how we can keep getting feedback and how we can keep checking, are we making progress? Are we going to achieve what we want to achieve? Okay, next slide. So as I said, we have had some feedback from the community over a couple of years. And we've gathered all of that and we keep reviewing it and distilling it down. And basically, the program logic starts with a question. It poses a question that we need to answer. And we have eventually come to the conclusion that our question is the ECAP Hub, the problem being solved, or the problem that the ECAP Hub will solve is the limited access, representation and inclusivity of communities in the region to freely share and access knowledge, hindering the realisation of the sum of all human knowledge. So it ties into the overall movement vision. So it's looking at what are the barriers in our region, what are the challenges in our region to access representation and inclusivity of our communities. So our hub's mission, the ECAP Hub's mission is to empower and enable communities across ECAP to freely share and access knowledge. And again, we'd love feedback on this. In a moment, I'll get you to work on the charts around the room, get you to actually get your brain moving and have a think about these things. So from that question that we have come up with and from the mission, we think these are the goals or key activities which we've grouped together. We've been able to come up with 4 key areas. So the first one is reducing the communication barrier caused by language differences. I think we all know that the diversity of languages in our region is quite phenomenal, and so we need a lot of support with translation and communicating that effectively out to the many groups in our region. The second is empowering community capacity through knowledge, experience and resources sharing. So coming together at events like this, but also online training, case studies, however we decide to share what we've been learning, how can we share. Heard some fantastic sessions yesterday from various groups, the New Zealand university scholars. There's just so many amazing things happening, and just be able to hear what other people are doing and then think, how could we apply that in our context? Or, we have something here that could support them to be able to go even further. So how can we build that community capacity? The third is building a trustworthy and transparent regional community decision-making mechanism. So it's basically being clear and transparent in decision-making is very important for our region. And finally, basically advocacy of our ECAP points of view to the wider movement. We think these are, from our consultation with everyone so far, the 4 key areas that people keep talking about and raising with us over and over again. So these are the 4 things that we want to focus on in our grant application. So around the room, this is where you're going to have to get moving, which is going to be interesting in this room. We'll see how we go. Around the room, we have 4 pinboards, and you'll see this one is communication, that first goal. Community capacity building. We have advocacy, I think, down the back, and also transparency in decision making. And we also have a 5th whiteboard, which is just open. You can put anything you like on the whiteboard. It can be a question, it can be a comment, it can be something that we haven't thought about yet. But what we would like you to do is to slowly, I'm not quite sure how we do this, we might have to break into groups somehow. Move around the room and spend some time at each of the stations, and consider each goal. And there are some sticky notes on there. If you could write a question or one idea or one comment, and put the notes onto each of these clip charts on the pinboards, and we will gather that up. So slowly move around the room and work on each one. But we would like you to talk with other people as well about, is this what our ECAP Hub network needs? Is this still something that's current? Is this still something that's important to us and that we desperately need in our region? And why? Why does it support ECAP? And how could we measure if we're being successful? How could we measure the outputs of this? And how will we know if it's working? How will we know that communication and translations have improved? How will we know? How will we know that we're helping build community capacity? What would we see? What would we hear? How would we know? So lots of questions, but we'll leave those up on the screen while you're going around. And finally, just with the sticky notes, if we can just write, actually, can you flick to the next slide, please? Just write one thing on each sticky note. I saw this at the Berlin Summit, so if we can just get one idea on a sticky note, try not to put too much on there, just put one clear thing, a few words, very short sentence on each sticky note, and then we'll be able to collate all those back and include it in our draft theory of change, which will finalise soon, and that will go into our grant application. So can we go back to the previous slide, please? So we have, I think we have, what time this morning, Tim? 45 minutes, so thank you. Excellent. So I think if everyone can spend approximately, well, it depends. You might like to just stay at one flip chart and just work on one, or you can make your way around the room and slowly add ideas onto each one. But we would love to get your feedback on each of these key areas. So how should we do this? Shall we just start with this area of the room? If you just want to slowly, this sort of quarter of the room, slowly make your way to one of the flip charts. And then we'll just slowly move people around. Counterclockwise, yeah. Yeah, and just move every 5 minutes to the next one. Or if you really are very interested in one topic, if you really care about advocacy, or if you care about community capacity building, just get perfect. And the council members will be around. And of course, there's the one at the back for any other comments. Feel free to add any other comments, questions, ideas. And then at 10:30 we will break for morning tea, but please keep the conversation going. Any questions, comments? Yes, thank you. So have a think about when you reach your flip chart, is this what the ECAP Hub needs? Why does it support ECAP? How could we measure the outputs? And how will we know it's working? And any other comments and questions you might have. Right. Another section of the room, we slowly start moving. Maybe this front section start moving. Actually, I think we're okay. I think people at the back can move as well. It looks like we've not caused a great rush. Okay. All right, everyone feel free to move to a picture and then work your way slowly around the room and chat with people about your ideas. Hi everyone, we've got 15 minutes to tea, so keep going, keep going. Maybe think about what are some of the things that are hard, what are some things where you what are some of the challenges you face, right? Those are the key things. 15 minutes to look at tea.
Ay, Raju, balik sama siapa? Balik sama siapa? Orang mana? Orang Indonesia. Ya. Oh, oh, Banjar, orang Banjar. Orang Banjar. Oh, Faisal. Oh, Faisal. Oh, Indonesia. Baru perasaan tadi. Sama. Sama kita punya laptop. Iya. Oh tidak. Beza produk Malaysia punya. Sama saja. Sama saja. Malah masuk, dia maksudnya masuk ke pelabur, dia masuk. Malah muncul, dia tuh dia. Dia tiga my new baby is so Ah, ya.
Okay, everyone, 5 minute warning, 5 minute warning. And I just want to let you know that we will leave the
My
boards
baby.
here. And you can add to them over the next day, and you can read other people's comments, you can add another comment tomorrow, if you get an idea overnight. You can come back and edit something, if you want to make a change. So the boards will be here all day today and tomorrow. So, and I want to thank the resident and sunbox for our byline on your communication.
Kamu sudah. Ah,
Ideas we have as well. So please keep the conversations going. I think we have about 4 minutes till morning tea, so keep adding for another couple of minutes. Thank you. 2 minutes. And then together.
Money back. After the boundary, is it the spread to the smaller group or is it not really that? Yeah, yeah, that's okay. We're
We're out of time for now, but we will leave the boards here. You can come and add more ideas, more thoughts, and we will gather them tomorrow. So please take some time to think, reflect, and feel free to come and add more ideas. So I think there, when you keep doing
Okay, so for participants, start from morning break. And then at the same time, we also have our very first auto performance of the day, which will start within 5 to 10 minutes, like during the morning break session. So if you would like to see another, also.
Hello guys, of our next session, and someone from UK going to be joining around 15 minutes. So maybe anyone can help with the connection test.
Yes, okay, the 11th session, right? 11th session, right? Okay.
Mozilla session.
Okay, good.
Right. Okay, my back.
So we'll just display from there, okay?
And where are all the entrances? Okay, okay. So please welcome. Thank you once again for the wonderful performance. Now, when does our break end? We'll just get a bit, I think it's 1 minute. Oh, 11. 16 minutes. So yeah, we'll keep on enjoying our morning break and we will be continuing later Meanwhile, I think I'll just go around and ask our participants who wants to share their experience in ESAP Conference 2024 so far, or maybe like in being di Sabah in general, you know. On the experience coming to Sabah today, well, this week. Anyone wants to share their experience, or should I go and find someone to share their experience? Okay, maybe I should just go too. Maybe Agus has something to share.
So my actual experience, like I come back to my home, like this the problem is that there's so many similar things that in here in my city that I can't find it in Indonesia, but I find it in here. So it seems like when I go to the beach, kind of like coming to home because my home also near to the port, so everything is kind of like home for me. So thank you for giving me happening here.
Really great to hear. Which, yeah, honestly, I mean, we all come from the same region, so it kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's a bit spot. I mean, coming here, being still in Malaysia, I would have thought it's the same, but it's different. But very familiar, you know, if you get what I mean? Like, everything is the same, but then at the same time, everything is different, but at the same time, it's all of it's familiar, still within what I'm used to. So it's a very nice experience. I mean, do you want to share anything? Okay, buzz around. Eugene, do you have anything to share? As the newcomer of the yeah.
I really enjoy listening to Compass Live. Thank you for inviting me. I'm very happy that we did it. I also joined this conference. I hope more that have interest in the
Thank you very much. And yes, I think Japan is one of the most highest potential for more people to get more interested because we have Eugene sharing all his experiences on this Wikimedia. So hopefully, yeah, we'll hope to have the that dream come true in the future. Yeah. So yeah, how many? I mean, it's still quite a long time until the end of this session. Do you have anything? Maybe you have something to share from the photo walk session this morning. Yeah.
By the way, this photo walk session is rescheduled for the evening because the morning was so sunny. It's not favorable for the good photograph. So I invite everyone who wants to come to photo walk after the commons photographer session. Maybe 4:45 we will start from lobby and go nearby there is one monument. It's a 15-minute walk. And being as a photographer, I think it will take around roughly 45 minutes. So we will try to come back so that we can enjoy the evening shows also. That's all. Thank you.
Okay, so remember, 4:45, assemble at the lobby, those who want to join the Commons photo walk. And don't forget to reconvene over at the rooftop, level 14, then go up the stairs for the yes, for the karaoke. Youngji knows more about it. Maybe you want to talk about it as well. Just invite people.
No.
Set up the yeah.
This is my first time actually doing like helping like the Malaysia people to organize the conference. So it's a great honor to just helping everyone's out, first of all. And yes, there will be karaoke session, obviously. I know like some people want to perform. There will be sign-ups will be coming to like the starting 6 probably. So you can just like sign up. At this time, compared to Wikimedia, what I'm trying to do is probably, I'm going to just also share the link so that you can just like sign using the form. That's also possible. So yeah, stay tuned.
and make sure you dress very, like, not like here. It's so cold in here right now, but in the evening, it's gonna be hot and everyone's energy is gonna be going up at rooftop, the place where you guys are partying. And also on our thing, we try to, I mean, you're aware about like this room is very cold right now and I like cold and personal, so the adjustments will be coming accordingly. Just in, thank you.
Right, thank you very much. And yeah, following that, also want to say if there's any from concerns or whatever issues that you're facing, just feel free to reach out to any of our organizing team. Perhaps if you want to, like I mentioned, if the room feels too cold or something, or there's some facility problems in any way, we will try to reach to the hotel team. Fortunately, the hotel management has been very good and very friendly and well, they very amazing hospitality from the very beginning. They're not telling me to tell this honestly. Like I'm just because on the first day we had a meeting, like the day before the pre-coffee, we had a meeting with them and they offered so much help to us. So it's been a very nice time organizing this. So yeah, as mentioned just now, today we will be having the upcoming session led by Sakti. He will be leading the session about the technology, from the team of technology. We'll be having a panel from Mozilla as well as from Wikimedia Foundation. And so this session will be before the lunch break. And then after that was the lunch break. We also have another cultural performance. And in the afternoon, actually in the afternoon, the evening, around that time, we will be having a group focus session in this hall. So let me just check the schedule again, just to make sure the time is correct, because I keep forgetting what the time is.
Sorry.
And the schedule is gone. Hold on. Please, please be patient with me. We lost the schedule. Quickly, if I pull it program. So, also, yeah, sorry, the group photo session will be before lunch. So please keep that in mind. After the session with Sakti, after the technology session, we will be having the group photo session in this very hall, in the plenary hall. Before we go for lunch. So we've allocated 30 minutes of time for the group photo session. Basically, what will happen is we will be standing here between the chairs, facing that way, and the camera will be there, so we can get a very nice photo of all of us together. So just so that you know, you get prepared, and if you need to go to the toilet, go before that, so that you will be facing the camera. So now we check the clock again. So you're still 7 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you're happening here.
Please, say something that.
Say something, babe. Entertain the whole.
Your new baby.
Yeah, maybe talk about your.
Koala.
He's been the caretaker of Oka since for this conference, so he says Oka is his child. Right. Okay, so he will be seeking the link, and I'll be seeking it. Saya masuk di Kinabalu, so my experience in Kinabalu. This is my first time.
Sebenarnya saya dah pergi beberapa expat and went to a few places. Satunya itu di Sarawak. All the places are Sarawak and Nusa dan di sini saya masa berjumpa dengan orang Malaysia, saya orang Malaysia. And when I meet friends in Malaysia, they will often tend to think I'm Malaysian as well. Orang fikir saya itu orang Sarawak. They think that I'm from Sarawak. Maybe it's also guys. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Because bahasa Melayu macam Malaysia. Yeah, because he speaks Malay like Sarawaki and most Malay.
Yeah.
Di sini saya macam di rumah saya sendiri sebab kawan-kawan saya. Yeah, so he says that over here he feels very at home because everyone here is very welcoming. It's very nice to meet. Thank you. So yeah, actually,
Have you translated his laugh in English also?
so what was I going to say? Oh yes, so yeah, Indonesian and Malay is very similar. That sometimes it's I mean, for the general person, they will usually not colloquial Malay and colloquial Indonesian. Colloquial Malay and colloquial Indonesian can sound like different languages, but standard Malay and standard Indonesian can really sound very similar, especially for those who are not familiar with the language. So yeah, is that sign for me? I thought it's for me too. So having that, so Malay and Indonesian is, I mean, initially they're the same language as well. I think it's just because of the nationality difference that makes it
handle
separate. And now both of them develop just it's not it's as similar to the Indonesian, but like
Wajah dia
similarities within the
Jess. Jess.
Yes, can you hear me, Jess?
I can indeed. Good morning. Selamat pagi.
Selamat pagi. Selamat pagi, Jess. How are you doing, Jess?
I'm so excited to be here with you all this morning. Thank you so much.
Wonderful, wonderful. Let me turn the camera so you can see the people who joined your session today. Hello.
Oh,
Miss
good
Vivian
morning. Thank you
and
so much for
Paul.
making time.
Thank you so much. So actually, it's 4 in the morning right now in the UK. Thank you so much, Jess, for joining in our session today. We truly appreciate it.
It's my delight. I'm so sorry that I couldn't be there in person. I've been told that the area is beautiful. I'm so, so sorry. I just will try and bully you to do this again next year, so I have to come and visit.
All right, so allow me, folks, to read a little bit about Jess. Her full name is Jessica Rose, and she's the technology community manager for the Common Voice project, which aims to teach computers the way that real people speak. She's equally bad and excited about language learning and will ask you exciting questions about language better. Outside of work, she's founded a free online bootcamp that has taught web and JavaScript skills to over 50,000 unique learners worldwide. Wow. She's passionate about access to digital spaces, equitable access to technical education, and why Birmingham, because is one of the great unsung world cities. Oh, nice. She always wants to hear more about what you're working. Jess, thank you so much for joining us. And I will hand over the microphone to you to start your presentations.
How scary. How exciting. Thank you. So yeah, good morning. My name is Jessica Rose, and I work with multi-language, multilingual speech technologies. And for folks who are day-to-day users of speech technologies, some of the ones you might be most familiar with are sort of the voice assistants in our phones. And voice is just this really interesting space because, as I like to say, if you're going to be talking to Siri or if you're going to be talking to the Google voice assistant, if you're going to be talking to these voice assistants, you know that these work 100% of the time, every single time, as long as your voice sounds exactly like mine. They're not really working for people who speak the way real people speak around the world in the languages we speak. And I want to talk to you specifically about Common Voice and the lessons we've learned around building a platform that's intentionally, radically multilingual. Ideally, so that folks who are working on multilingual platforms can learn from our mistakes and learn from where we're growing. So, hello, I'm Jessica Rose. I work on Common Voice, and I'm very, very bad at learning languages, but very, very excited about them. So please, 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 if I make a mistake in this talk, you're never going to embarrass me correcting me. One thing that I think about a lot when I think about languages is how radical and how exciting the web is. The web as a concept should be a platform for everybody to publish on, everybody to get information on. But practically speaking, we find that 1 out of every 5 websites is in English. That's the same number in Chinese. And when we look at this chart, and this is from the good people at OBILCI, who do research on what kind of languages are used on the web, we see that we do see these world languages in big chunks. But we know there are so many languages in the world, and we see this rest content at 35%. The majority of world languages are really stuck in this little tiny percentage. Seems brutally unfair that the web isn't reflecting the diversity of language that real people speak. And this is true in speech technologies as well. We know, in as much as we know things, that there are more than 7,000 languages in the world. And the most common speech technologies, when we think about them, voice assistants, work pretty well with about 20 languages. The gap between 7,000 and 20, that's not acceptable. What Common Voice is we collect from volunteers and we offer a speech corpus, so clips of people reading text in their own home languages. And we release this as a copyright-free and cost-free data set so that people making voice assistants, people making speech-enabled apps, people doing speech research really don't have an excuse not to include languages. Right now, we offer speech clips, we offer speech data in 120 languages, which is fantastic. But we're still missing 7,000 or more. So we still have a lot of work to do. I'll talk you really quickly through how Common Voice works, because the lessons learned I'm going to be talking to you about today come from the platform we built to collect speech and text data. And it also comes from putting together and offering the speech data set. So how does Common Voice work? First thing is somebody comes to us and says, hey, Jess, or really my colleague Gina does the hard work. So they'd say, hey, Gina, I'm trying to think of a language we don't have on Common Voice yet. I speak this language and it's not on Common Voice yet. Can I have it on Common Voice? We'll say, yes, 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 please. And the next thing we need to do is our platform localization. So the platform that Common Voice collects speech through, if we're asking people to donate their voice, we need to do it on a website that's already in their language. That's only fair. So the first thing we need to do is, when we've been asked to work with a new language, is present that website, localize that website. Next, for people to read sentences to create clips for voice donation, we need to have sentences we're allowed to put into the platform. So we need to collect copyright-free sentences or donated sentences with permission that can be pulled into a text corpus. Once we've got the platform localized in this new language and enough sentences that are copyright-free we can launch it. We say, hey, here's our platform. It is now in this new language. After that, people can come to the platform and donate their voices. After that, other people will come to the same localized platform and listen to these clips and say, oh yeah, this person is saying the sentence it says on the screen. I'll approve it. And then after all of that, every 3 months, we take all of the clips and we publish them into the speech corpus for folks to use. As part of the data set release process, we transform the raw data into clean and organized data sets and then publish them free and easy to use. This isn't really a sales pitch because there's nothing to sell, but if you're interested in speech data, or if you work with speech data, or if you just like looking at things that are free, you could go to Common Voice right now and get the data set and see what you think about it. So I'm going to do a very American Silicon Valley tech promise, and then I bet I won't deliver, and say, do you know what? If you're going to be building a multilingual platform, you just need one question. You only need to know one thing, and then you're ready to go. Just one question to ask yourself to build multilingual platforms. But really, you all probably know that this is a lie, right? There's no one question that we need to ask for multilingual platforms. And I bet the question isn't actually that simple. But if I were sitting and pitching to someone, say, here's the one question you need to ask yourself before building a multilingual platform, the question would be, okay, this platform I'm building has more than one language. What language do I need to include? And if you're working on a product maybe you're working on a government product, maybe you only need to include only need to. You might want to include more. Maybe you only need to include the languages that are the languages in use in the local community it serves. Unfortunately for Common Voice, the nature of the platform we build means that we need to try and include any language that someone may speak that they want to include in the Common Voice data set or platform. So this one question, what languages do I need to include? For us and for projects like Wikimedia, Wikipedia, these huge online crowdsourced language diverse things, it's not, okay, what's the short list of languages I need? Really, we hit a much more philosophical question almost immediately. If I need to include every language as I have the resource in my platform for, what does that list look like? What is a language? And I love this question because the more deeply you think about it, the more opportunities you have to really freak out about it. Is a dialect a language? Is a language variant a language? Are different types of English different languages? And the exciting thing here is this is something that experts in languages really love to fight about. So what is this a language? Is this not a language? How many languages are there? But we're not linguists. We're on the tech side. So we know we can kick back and relax and let somebody else solve this for us because we have language standards. Surely, with the amount of standards out there and the number of care and considerations that go into creating standards, surely there must be one standard that offers a holistic and comprehensive look that really defines what is a language for us, right? Surely somebody's done this and they've done it right. There is the ISO 639 standard. And those of you who work on the web a lot, you may recognize these two-letter codes. And we'll see those in our meta tag for websites when we say lang equals N for about a third of the websites on the internet, or MS for Malay, or AB for Arabic. And these two-letter codes are for macro languages. So the big language families that might include multiple individual languages. When Common Voice first started, we started using the ISO 6393 standards to classify and taxonomize languages. This would be MSA for Malay, for example, ARA, because the two-letter codes are for a macro language, the sort of language family. And there could be multiple individual languages within those. And we wanted to go ahead and have that level of ambiguity. Okay, cool. So we've got the ISO 6393 standard to work from. Now that we know what languages exist out there that we might have to work with, now we just need to look at the ISO codes and figure out what text we're going to use in our platform for each of the languages we're going to be including. Not even a problem. This is perfect. This is so easy. Except this line of text up here at the top. Oh, heck. This is the Tajik alphabet. But then the second line of text is also the Tajik alphabet. And then the third line of text is also the Tajik alphabet. So even though we've got a standard, and there's still standards with ISO 639, some of which are political, always excited to talk about them, it doesn't actually completely answer our question. Okay, what are the languages? Now what text do I need to use? Because the same language can use multiple orthographies. When we first began building Common Voice, we hard linked orthographies or writing systems to our languages and said, okay, we think that if you're writing in Arabic, that you're always going to be using Perso-Arabic script. We think these orthographies are tightly linked. And as we talked more and more to people who are using languages, language users, it's a fancy way to say people, we started moving our platform into a multi-orthography. So the ability to say, hey, I'm a Tajik speaker, but I want to write and read text using the Cyrillic alphabet, or I want to write and read text using the Perso-Arabic alphabet. So this is one of the very messy, very exciting, very beautiful things about languages. So we found that ISO 639 didn't give us enough flexibility. So it's just those 3-letter codes. And language as it's lived can see dramatic variations in the scripts people use for the same language. But also spoken language, the way people speak, not just the way people write, can be very, very different regionally. If you have any Australian friends who speak English, they'll sound very different from me and use different language, but also with social grouping. Okay, so ISO 639 doesn't give us enough flexibility on text, and it also didn't give us enough flexibility on spoken language. We're in the process of moving from ISO 639 on Common Voice and moving into using this different, more flexible standard called BCP 47. I'm super into language standards, so I'll go quickly. This starts with the same 2 or 3-letter ISO code. So we've still got that ISO 639, but then we've got an optional script tag. So here we've got Malay again, MS. And then the next part of this tag, we're saying, hey, I'm going to be using the Latin text for this. And then you can continue to add to this tag. I said, do you know what? We're going to be talking about Malay as it's spoken in Malaysia. So I'm going to add an MY. But I could break this down further into variants and say, oh, I want to specifically look at maybe how it's spoken in different kinds of areas in Borneo and add that. So you've got a very flexible one. Still not perfect, but this gave us a lot more flexibility. So, okay, we've thought about what languages to include, all of them. Oh no. We've thought about what language standards we want to use and how to handle that. That's not a problem. Let's keep going. All we have to do, we have the very simple problem. All we have to do is continually localize our platform. And that'll be, it won't be easy. But there are a number of localization and translation platforms out there. Luckily for us, Mozilla makes one. Again, I'm not selling, but this is free and open source. You can go to GitHub and use the same platform on what you'd like to use it on. So we use Pontoon, and we use this for community-driven translations. It's a translation management system that we use in Mozilla and developed here. And we really specialize in open source localization. So if you want to use this for a project, again, you don't have to. There's other things out there. You can self-host this and tailor it to yours. The way it works is Pontoon will pull strings it needs to translate from an external source. It'll present them to a translation community and then push them back into your application. Let's take a look at what that means technically. Generally speaking, it'll do this using version control. Okay, so the Pontoon flow is, we have an application, not a problem. In our application, we'll write resource files with the text that we need to localize. That's cool. Using version control, we'll kick that text to a little robot, a Pontoon bot. The Pontoon bot will put that text on the Pontoon website for contributors to translate or localize. And then as that's translated, the Pontoon bot will kick it back into resource files for us to suck back into our application. This sounds very easy and very laid back. I bet it's not. But let's pretend it was easy. We're almost done. Let's say everything's worked perfectly so far. It's been easy. Everybody's happy. And now we have our translated text. Let's just take that translated text and put it in our website. I bet it's going to be fine. Text. How hard could text be? Text is actually super hard. This is the joy and the terror of working with strings. We think of text as very, very simple, But there are so many things that can go wrong with working with strings. You can see in this real example. So this is the Common Voice platform with, I believe, Turkish, but it's definitely a Turkic language. And we showed this sentence to our contributors and say, hey, can you read the sentence? And our fantastic contributors came back to say, Jess, what are you talking about? This text is wrong. This text is broken. Let's take a look at some of the different ways that text can go wrong in different stages of a string processing pipeline. So when you ingest the text for the first time, you can have messy, exciting technical problems. Transmitting strings over a network and storing them on a database, one crucial aspect that often gets overlooked is character encoding. And character encoding refers to the ways computers represent text using unique values called code points. The choice of encoding can lead to issues when communicating between systems that might expect different things. So when you ingest them, when you read a string from a file, you could have encoding issues that don't match the expected encoding used by your program. For example, if you have a file encoded in the UTF-8, it might be read as Latin 1 if your program expects that. Also, different kinds of characters can require different numbers of bytes. So if you're reading a multi-byte character like UTF-16 or UTF-32, byte ordering might result in errors where systems swap the characters around or lead to corruption or loss. And null termination. Some of your files might not have a null termination set to mark the end of a string, and your program needs to know how to handle those. So here's some problems we could have taking text. What about sending it, transmitting it? Characters can be corrupted. So when data is transmitted using the wrong encoding, characters could become corrupted or replaced. For example, the euro symbol for money sometimes gets represented as a box. If you've ever seen a box as a question mark when you expected a character, this is character corruption. Also, inconsistent representation, which is when different systems use different encodings, which can make it difficult to make sure that things are presented consistently across platforms. And then in storage, you can lose characters. Some encodings are not capable of representing certain characters, and these could get lost, damaged, or corrupted. There's also length limitations. So different types of characters and different types of encoding can lead to issues where the underlying data type only supports a certain number of characters, and you need to use more. How could we avoid these issues? And really, I'm going to be a little bit more honest, but if you're working with radically different text systems, it's how can I plan for and how can I guard against these issues? Sorry, my time's up. My apologies. Thank you so much. I'll be so happy to go ahead and make a video of this with the additional ones. I'm so sorry. Um, I'll go ahead and make these texts available immediately. I've been given a little bit of a wave that we've got to add some space for Q&A. We've gotten to tackle some of the most hard-hitting technical ones, which are how do we handle standards and how do we handle multilingual text considerations. The rest of the points I had to make were mostly around the messy human problems with language. And it's probably more polite and more messy to talk about them in Discord or in Matrix at a later point.
Sorry.
Hello, can you hear me, Jess? Okay, good. One question? One questions? Online. Oh, yes, we have one online questions in the chat box, Jessica, from Sahmu Hidayat. In several Austronesian languages, there is a language strata system. For example, in Japanese, there are there are varieties of vocal and grammar. Yeah, can this be said to be a different language? What's your take on that? Yes.
I'm so glad I'm muted because I just made the most excited sound. I love, love, love questions about, is this a language? Are these separate languages? Are these variants? And the nice thing about these questions are, it would be both inappropriate and unfounded for me to say, oh, this is definitely a language or this isn't. If it's not politically a little bit spicy, I'd also argue that when we see a lot of linguists or folks working on standards in the West telling other people, oh, this is a language and this isn't, I also don't think that's a really good fit either. So when we on the Common Voice team look at how do we taxonomize what a language is, how do we taxonomize what a variant is, how do we work with people who say they're like people who use the same language may have different names for the language. Really, when it comes down to these judgment calls of, is this a language? Is this a variant? Where do we think the lines are between these languages? I'm really excited to talk about these. I'm really excited to listen because they're so interesting. But it sounds like a bit of a cop out. The answers to this need to come from the language communities themselves. For us as a platform or us as a project, or for me as a really interested individual to say, here's where the lines in your language are, is really unacceptably colonialist to me. It wouldn't be something I'd be comfortable doing, but it's always a conversation I'm excitedly interested in listening to at a cafe or at a conference.
Yes, can you hear me?
Can you read the question?
I can. You sound great.
Yes. Is it okay if I share the slide deck or maybe share the context of Commons Voice? I'm
Of
not sure.
course. I'm so
Because it
sorry.
means,
Let's
there's some idea that we could brainstorm further together.
Amazing. Let's go ahead. I'm so, so excited to talk about language. Very, very nerdy about this. I'm so excited to talk about language standards. I'm so excited to talk about the technical and human lessons we've learned from the platform. We've got a matrix, and I'll drop these into the chat as well so we can share them more easily. We've got a forum. You can email us commonvoice@mozilla.com, or you can email me directly if you want to chat about language groupings, and especially if you want to chat about Malay or Bahasa Indonesia, because I'm learning it at the moment, not well. You can email me at check with me next year and see how it.
So, guys, let's give a big round of applause to Jessica. Thank you so much, Jessica, for joining us today. Thank you. And we can move to our next presenter. So we have the next session is about trust and safety product road ahead. Allow me to introduce you to Madalena, the Wikimedia from the Wikimedia Foundations, who is going to share more insight to you all about this. So maybe, Madalena, I can invite you here to the stage. You can use this table here.
for the presentations. Maybe let's do a quick technical check.
Can you hear me? Good.
Cool. So, Madalena, maybe you can introduce yourself to the folks in the room, and they're going to handle your please handle from your computer. Directly. No. Okay. Okay, perfect. And over the microphone to you.
Hi, everyone. So once again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Madalena. I'm foundation staff. And I live in Belize. I'm a Filipino, but I'm here. And I'm part of this team that is called Trust and Safety Pro. So before we start, I wanted to ask, first of all, quick show of hands. How many of you have actually heard of this team before? No. Okay, cool. How many of you have heard about the project called Temporary Accounts? Okay, one person, great. We can talk about it too. All right. This is better. Okay. All right, and last question. Is there anyone here that does something like, oh, you're okay. Something like patroller work, admin work in the wiki? Okay. Let's talk. All right, cool. So let's get started. Next slide, please. So the purpose of this session is basically I want to introduce myself, to introduce my team to you, so that you can learn about what the role of this team is in the whole ecosystem, understand the different areas of work, what we're doing, what we're focusing on. I'm really interested to hear your feedback about problems that you're encountering in your wiki, in your community, things that we should be looking at. And obviously, I want to connect with a lot of people to talk about technology and trust and safety and how everything works together. So after this session, we only have 30 minutes, so I'll have to like speak through. But after this, come find me, let's talk more. I'm really excited to be here. Okay, next slide. All right, so who are we? There's a link there to our wiki page. We're a fairly big team. We're like 5 engineers, I think, 2 product managers, we have designers, researchers, so on and so forth. So basically, we're a product and technology team, and we're focused on building products and tools that are supposed to help with fostering an environment of safety. So we're really focused on keeping users safe. Also, we're focused on things like regulatory compliance. So a lot of different regions, countries, they have different types of legislation, laws that are related to safety. So our team is basically working to see that we are compliant with those. So focus areas for our team: anti-abuse work, user safety, vandalism, harassment. Then responding to technological challenges. So for example, as you've heard, you keep hearing, right? AI is becoming bigger thing. What does this mean? While it's an opportunity, it's also a challenge, because with the use of AI, now also bad actors want to vandalism and other bad things. They're becoming more efficient. So this is a challenge that we need to tackle. How can we make sure that we are there to prevent these things from happening? Supporting the needs of patrols. So there's a lot of people in the communities who help with like patrolling work, keeping the wiki safe. So, and there's like all kinds of tools that are being used, so our team is there to support that. And then, as I mentioned before, responding to regulatory changes. So depending on the legislation, sometimes we have to do things to mitigate that. So next I'm gonna run through a couple of projects and initiatives, and I made a note here that we are not the only team at the foundation who focuses on anti-abuse work. This is a very big issue. So there's like other teams as well. You probably know the moderator tools team who's working on the moderator. There will be like another session about that. Security team. So there's a bunch of teams that are focusing on anti-abuse work. Next slide, please. Right. Our biggest project right now is called Temporary Accounts. In case you haven't heard about it, it's also known as IP masking, and it's been going on for a while. So this is a project to hide addresses for editors who edit without an account. This is a big security risk right now, because you edit as an anonymous user, you're basically, your IP is displayed. You know, people can find out who you are, where you live. So through this project, what we're trying to do is to basically protect the privacy of anonymous users. So the way this will work is, instead of your IP being displayed, temporary account will be created, and you can still edit without having to register, so on and so forth. You'll have a temporary account. So this is very, very big project because with the introduction of this new type of account, there are a lot of tools that are being used right now for patrolling work and abuse work that are using IP addresses. So with the introduction of this new account, some of those laws might be broken. So we need to make sure that all these tools are going to work with this new type of account. Again, if you want to hear more about the accounts, let's talk after. I'm happy to give more details. Media moderation is another project that my team has been working on. This is an extension that is scanning for CSAM content. CSAM content is child abuse content. And believe it or not, there are people who actually upload that stuff on Wikimedia. We're using this extension to basically identify that type of content, and then a report is being sent to our friends from Trust and Safety, so that type of content can be taken down. And right now we're doing scans on Wikimedia accounts, where it's around, I think, like 4 images per second, 4 images per second. Yeah, I'm trying to. Next slide, please. Instant reporting system, another project that we have been working on. This is a tool designed to allow users to file reports around different types of harmful content, harassment, other types of issues. This is in a very early stage right now. It's in what we call an MTP, minimum testable product. So it's not like available anywhere. It was like this very, very small version was published on beta. So you can see it there if you want to. But we're still kind of like working out how this might look like. In theory, this is about, encounter something harmful, you press report, then you get something like that where you can choose the type of report that you want to file, proceed to file a report, and then that report will go to the right entity that is supposed to deal with that type of issue. Right now, we're focusing on the reports that are going directly to the Trust and Safety team at the foundation. Usually, these are like emergency situations. But we're thinking also about how we can integrate some of the existing community processes when we're talking about reports that are not private. But again, very early stages. If you want to talk about it, I'm more than happy. This is a very interesting project for me. Let's move on. Next slide. Global user contribution. This is a very specific tool that is used by patrollers. This is an example of a tool that will be broken once we have temporary accounts because it uses IP addresses. So that's something that we're working on right now to make sure it works with the new type of content. Moving on to the next slide, please. User agent client hints. This is also a very interesting project related to patrolling work. So the user agent header is basically information about the browser. And this is something that Czech users use when they do their work. Google Chrome has deprecated the user agent header and replaced it with this new thing called user agent client hints. So that meant that Czech users could not do their work anymore because they could not use the information. So we have been working on this to make sure that Czech users can still see the browser and operating system information. this is very important for them to be able to conduct investigation on the type of abuse that is happening. All right, next slide, please. Forward here. Yeah. Cool. So that's pretty much it in terms of like very big picture of like the kind of work that we're doing as a team. What's next for us? So in the near future, we're continuing to work on temporary accounts in this reporting system. So right now we focus a lot of temporary accounts because, as I said, this is quite a big security risk right now. So we need to at a certain point to have this done. This reporting system, something that we're thinking about. Another thing that we're going to look into is we're trying to understand the bigger picture around harassment and harmful content. So basically, what does that mean across the entire Wikipedia communities, right? Like, where does it happen? How it happens? What type of harmful content do we see? Where do we see it? Does it happen more on this wiki or on the other wiki? Why does it happen, right? Because in trying to understand that, the entire picture and getting some data, it could also be, the purpose of this is for us to be able to think about possible countermeasures that we can do from a technical perspective, because we're a technical team, right? So from a technical perspective, what are some countermeasures that we can put in place, maybe some automations or tools or whatever, so that we can counter these problems that we do, depending on their gravity. Improve the precision of actions on bad actors. As I said before, there's a lot of bad people out there who are trying to abuse the wikis, and they're getting better and better. So one of the things that we're focusing on is thinking about how can we improve our actions against them. And the last but not least, mitigation of scaled attacks. This is not something that the trust and safety product team particularly drives. This is more something that the security team is looking at. But scaled attacks are basically people who organize themselves to take down Wikipedia, and that happens. So this is something that it's a big focus to make sure that we're protecting our platform, protecting the people who are using the platform, and so on and so forth. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're thinking about right now. Next, I think that's it. Yeah. So I have some time. That's why I went like really quickly, because I wanted to basically check in with you to hear from you, what do you think about this whole ecosystem? How does this look in your wiki? Like, what are the type of problems that you're encountering? I know, for example, in the ECF region blocks are a problem. So yeah, anything that you can tell me right now?
Yeah, so basically there are like a lot of features that you present. I know because I was like all the UCS project for a long while, so I was like really good at the report system, and yeah, so kind of interesting projects are going in, but like yeah, so I don't have like that many concerns, but I'm looking forward to get those incident reporting tools on like the live. Actually, I'm waiting to see how it works because that's kind of changing our administrative flow process. But like what I was like realizing is like the IP masking, it is kind of like another concerns may raise in the administrative issue, because what I realized in Korean community, there is like a lot of the IP address contributed by the just like cellular data, and there in the Korea there a lot are changed by like when they're logging out and logging in or removing the cookies. That makes like the new like the the account so that they can easily evade just like the block. So when I was like the first impression is like I'm very concerned about like that's actually implemented, and then there will be lots of vulnerabilities and can like abuse those features. I know this is somehow the privacy it is pretty protected, but like the some countries like Korea, it's gonna be making another issues. Anything to add? Oh, okay, I added everything because it's consensus.
Okay, yeah, thanks for, yeah, definitely. There are some concerns and I would love to talk about them more in detail. One thing that I can tell you is that, so temporary accounts, IP masking, it's not, we're gonna have many conversations around it, right? So, right now, for example, we're in conversations with the stewards about like, how will this affect, their workflows and their tools and so on and so forth. This is not something that is going to just happen, right? It's like the public, we release it and then all hell break loose. Because as I said, it's a big project and it has a lot of impact. So if they're like concerns, I would love to hear them so that we can write them down and we can make sure that I sit down with the team and we can address them. Yeah. Yeah, and then definitely there's like a lot of potential for abuse. At the same time, we are putting in place all types of mitigations, but I'm pretty sure those are not very like visible right now. So yeah, I want to hear again like what are the type of concerns, and then we can think about the type of mitigations that we can. Anybody else? Yes.
And in Japan, Wikipedia, there are many contents of foreign actors. But she is not, she is trained to contract the actors agent. But publishing content. Publishing content many.
So there are a lot of like bad actors who are.
And wide content and daily things Wikipedia articles, but it is already exists the contents.
Okay.
Many exists contents in many Wikipedians to be exist an article.
So let me see if I got this correctly. So basically what you're saying is that there are like a lot of bad actors who are trying to like put bad content out there. And you need to go in and like remove that, but it takes a while. It needs a lot of people to be able to remove all that, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's thanks for sharing that. That's also something that we're thinking about, because one of the things that happens is that we rely a lot on manual processes, meaning that for removing bad content, for dealing with abuse, for everything, we require people, right? We need like administrative control, stewards, all these functions to be able to do this. And it's hard and it's a lot, right? And because again, the bad actors, they're just waiting for us to, get all these groups of people together so we can fight them. They're just like coming. So one thing that I have been thinking about, and also my team, and I would love to have again more conversations with the community around it, is how can we be more efficient, maybe automate some of the processes, use the technology so that we can not rely so much on people to go in and like check everything and delete everything, because it's just not sustainable at this scale, right? So again, if you have ideas about what we could do, I would love to hear them, because we are definitely concerned about that. The type of work, and also with like temporary accounts and all that stuff, the amount of work that the person who does administrative works, patrol or so on, has to do, it's very much, it's like really hard. And it's not like fair, it's not, we shouldn't expect people to just like spend 24/7 just trying to remove like bad stuff, right? So yeah.
Questions? This is not a question, it's more of, I think maybe I share my experience as a English Wikipedia admin. So with regards to like the deletion, mass deletion of content by problematic editors, what we do there is if there's too much of a content that the last time happened was 2 years ago. We actually had an RFC to decide what we delete and how much we delete. Even the result of the RFC is not implemented totally. It's a small process of doing that. Another process that we had that deals with mass deletion is actually copyright content investigations, or CCI for short. And what we do there is also it's a slow process. We have a lot of cases falling in the back. The tools there are also quite rudimentary. But it's also, I would say it's a slow process of having to go through revisions after revisions to ensure that all the content there is copyrightable materials moved. So I understand from where the Japanese media is coming from, that if they do not have the kind of support or tools that is expected to them as to what we have done for visual media, is so for everyone.
Yes, thanks for sharing that. Yeah, totally. And copyright investigations, they take forever, right? Like trying to identify if this is copyright. Yeah, totally. As I said, like improving, I think a big theme for us should be how can we help control more efficient. And as you said, right, like a lot of the tools that are being used are very rudimentary. I don't know when they have been last touched. So looking at maybe like improving some of those would be, I think would be interesting. Cool, okay, we have 5 more minutes.
Any other questions?
If there are no other questions, on the first slide, you have my email and my journey. So again, I would love to talk to everyone while we're here. But at the same time, feel free to drop me an email, message in my homepage, anything. We are a new team. We have just been formed like November last year. So let's do this. Let's fight abuse. Let's make the wikis a safer place for everyone.
Let's make the safer place. Let's give a round of applause to everyone. Thank you so much, Madalena. And yes, that means it's going to be the end of our sessions before the group photo. We are going to have group photo today. So maybe after this, there any announcement where the group photo took place? Yeah. Okay, it's going to be in here. So feel free to grab more coffee, or you are going to work or stay here until the photo sessions happens. And I'll see you guys again after lunch. Thank you so much.
documentation. All knowledge is a world without enlightenment. Imagine a world in which different cultures come together to assemble all human knowledge in a collaborative effort, breaking all known borders. This is a world that we can build together. Look beyond the horizon and let's explore an open world without limits. Welcome to Kota Kinabalu. Welcome to ISIAP Conference 2024.
Hi, I'm not, like, those in the hall, you need to pay attention. I'm speaking to those online. Hello, everyone, can you hear me? I hope you can. If you're joining online and you would like to join our group focus session, we just stay in here, just stay in the Zoom room. We will be opening, like, we'll be showing the camera photos down here. Hopefully, we can fit in enough space for those who are online. If you want to join in, we'll try to work our way through it. If you don't end up making it through, we're very sorry, but we're trying our best to do that. So yeah, we're not going to do it yet. We're gonna we have some buffer time to get people in from all the other rooms first, because this is just the plenary hall. Yeah, we have people coming in now and all of that. So we will be starting soon. So you didn't turn on your cameras yet, but once you are ready, you can turn on your camera, or if you just want to use your profile picture, I guess that can work as well. But you know, whichever that fits better. Okay, thank you. See you there soon.
Hi, everyone online. You can turn on your camera now if you want to. We will be arranging the screen.
Nice. What are you doing? It's live stream. Yeah. You dropped the phone, Robert. Okay.
Really, no battery.
Those online, if you want to, you can turn on your camera so that you will be as a part of the video.
Yes, perfect.
If there's no one, then we will just turn off the video and we'll just have the in-person participants in here.
Do we want to just maximize it?
No one's turning on. So we'll just.
Do you want to make it bigger or you do nothing very fun?
We'll just do this. Yeah.
Can you contact this first?